that question that, hey, what is the purpose of education? And for us, that question led to an answer here that perhaps the purpose of education is to live, uh, not really to look for a job or career. I mean, that will happen automatically. That's just part of life, right? So as much as uh, earning is also part of life. So we don't have to bother about that. Till we are living, we would end up earning also. We'll end up doing a lot of other things. So we think living, learning, education, all are kind of synonyms. They mean the same thing. And because it means the same thing, it is fairly straightforward that, hey, then each one should lead their life, their learning themselves or their education themselves, because then only they can find what is living for them. Yeah. And living is at all ages. It is not like you do education, then you live your life. It's not like that, right? We are all the time living. So when I say I am my leader of myself, as in I as a child or as an adult, what does that mean? The first thing it means is that we don't need to bind anybody with a curriculum. The child can literally decide how to live every day, week, month, decide what to do, what to learn, and yeah, and grow through that. Much like how we are doing with our lives at this moment. How I am 55. I decide what I want to do during the day, week, month, and that's how I go about living my life. It's similar with a 5-year-old. Why only 55 years old should do like that, right? What that translates it in is that the whole world and all the opportunities in the world is worth living for. So it's not just that only few things are good. It could be somebody could be in politics, somebody could be in fashion, somebody could like to do poetry, somebody might like to do gymnastics, somebody might like to do crochet. How does that matter? Everybody's just liking different things and doing different things. The second thing is we don't need to teach the child. The child will find ways to, let's say, learn or do things. It could be through a YouTube, it could be through friend, it could be through a teacher, it could be through a formal course or a workshop. So we really leave it to the child to decide how the child wants to explore and learn something. And if we look at this little map, we realize that, hey, when we start thinking like this, the whole world becomes our resources, right from ourselves, our families, friends, relatives, community, neighborhood, the whole city where we live in, localities, and literally anybody in the world. In today's world, I'm seeing half the content from different continents, right? So it is, my learning is not limited from resources only around me or in one premise. The third aspect is that there seems to be no need to assess the child. We don't, at least I don't like being assessed. I do like feedback, and I do take feedback or seek feedback. I do a lot of reflection. I'm sure all of you do that. Why do we need to assess the child? We don't need. The child can himself or herself do this assessment, do this feedback business, and that can be the way to grow, which is how we all normally do in our adult life, at least. Uh, which also means it translates into then suddenly everybody becomes a source of learning, right? All kinds of people whom I interact with, who interact with me, and so on. So it is not limited only to my age or a certain group of people. All people of all ages becomes our source of collaboration, connections, relationships, and learning. Lastly, we don't necessarily have to have school, college degrees as the route to live a life, but that is one route. That is a good route. People who like doing that, good, amazing. But people who don't like that are equally amazing. Somehow the schooling system tends to put then, the 90 percentager is superior than a 60 percentager, but possibly 90 percentage is the one who thrives in the school or the academic system, but the other people thrive elsewhere. So we are all equal. We are not less or more, which also means that the child is capable of paving or growing and going in his or her path right till professional level. There is no need to, uh, kind of get hold of the child and push him into some kind of a future career. This comes from the very simple thought that open learning is not about freedom. It's about giving responsibility to each individual. That, hey, this is your life. You lead it. You see what you want to learn, how you want to learn, and so on. Right till professional journey. Yeah. So a typical journey, like I was talking about professional journey, well, a learning journey in open learning typically happens when at a younger age, they are hungry for exposure. And as they start growing older, they start exploring things which interest them, and not everybody's interested in the same thing. And as they grow further older, uh, teenagers, they start looking for expertise in one or few fields. And some of those areas, or maybe one of those areas, they convert it into enterprise, which is the professional part, yeah, where you start earning. So that's typically the journey of an open learner. Again, not divided by these stages, it's just a continuous journey. And even when I reach enterprise stage, I still explore other things, still get myself exposed to new things and so on. So the journey is actually all four together continuous. Yeah. So that's a little about open learning. I want to quickly share about Aarohi, which is a space for families to come together. So it's a community to learn together, to create together, to support together each other, and to live together. Live together, not necessarily physically together. So Aarohi families are all over the country, and they are participating in the community from different spaces. That's the best part. So you can your home is a campus, Aarohi as a campus, other people's home is a campus, and then the whole world is a campus. So everything is worth learning from, right? Or learning in, rather. Yeah. Specifically for older age group, 13 to 21, for their professional journey, we call it the CoVersity, where basically what we are trying to say here is that teens, when they're in teenage years, they like exploring different interests till they find what is it that they like doing. And at a young age, they're not supposed to really know immediately what is their passion. So how do you find one passion? You find it by doing it out, right? You find it by deep diving into different things. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the teenagers are very excited to do actual industry work. So that is what happens in CoVersity. Right from 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, they start doing actual work, not just homegrown projects, but actual projects or client projects from the industry, doing internships with the industry. And that's how they start learning from experts and mentors from the industry. So that becomes rather that's a very interesting and a value-adding way of learning, where you're rubbing shoulders with the experts in your domain. Like a person interested in stocks, let's say, will be working with a stock trader. So that makes no sense. And finally, we realize that teenagers are open to working together, open to challenging themselves and each other, and even helping each other. So when these teenagers get together, we don't really need to do much. They take most of the initiatives. Yeah. Most of these teenagers, they don't really get into certification because for them, their work is their certification. So they're work certified. And that is what industry values today. Hey, you show me work, I give you more work, or I give you an employment or whatever. Yeah. So that's CoVersity in a short way. And let me just pause here.